All right, I'm live with Assimilate Google Cloud, and I'm going to talk about Rust here and really in a blind way, actually, just play around with what you can do with Rust in terms of the Google Cloud platform. And to start off with, one of the things would be to just see if you have the Rust compiler installed, etc. So inside of the Cloud Shell environment, you could actually do this, right? You could go to Rust up and you could actually just type this command in and install Rust inside of this environment. So I think this is not a bad way to go. Now, obviously, this is ephemeral, so that's not going to persist between different states. But again, if you just want to, do a quick and dirty Rust installation, this is reasonable in terms of getting things working. So let's go ahead and try this real quick. And now I can actually just source the cargo environments and try it out. So you can see pretty easy actually to install Rust inside of Google Cloud. And then if I just type in cargo new hello, and I want to make a hello world, I cd into hello from VI or whatever, just edit the program. But I also can just type in cargo run because they already built a hello world for me. So we've got hello world working inside of a Google Cloud Shell environment. Now, what I'm kind of curious about is if I go to the editor here, this is actually a more powerful way to work with Google Cloud because it provisions an editor and it has a lot of like neat tricks that you can play around with. And in fact, if I click on terminal, this is actually not bad. Now, it is a little bit annoying that it's white. And if I go to, let's see, color theme, dark Visual Studio. There we go. That's a little bit better. And also the other one that I'm kind of curious about, if I check this off, it says when you disable this, all files from the session will be lost. You'll return to the default experience. Huh. I don't know. Why would this ephemeral to me means it means ephemeral. I'm not sure why that is an option there. But anyway, I just wanted to edit the source code a little bit and play around with it. So let's say hello world GCP from Rust, and then let's recompile it. So let's type in cargo run. Oh, let's see. We need to go to hello cargo run. There we go. Hello world. So yeah, I mean, you can also edit inside of here. We could even create a make file inside. For example, if I wanted to say lint, what's interesting, once you start getting used to a Copilot, it's hard to not program with it. So that's one downside. But I'm going to look at, I don't know, like a make file from another project and just copy it so I can use it. And we can go here and we can see that we have format, lint, test, run, etc. So let's go ahead and do this. Look and do make format. There we go. And then we can say make lint, linted, right? And then we can say make run to run it. So that's kind of neat. What would be kind of interesting though is to see what are the things that we could do inside of here. And I believe, if I remember correctly, if you click on Cloud Code here, it actually will let you do more sophisticated things. So we could actually create a Kubernetes sample app. We could do a Cloud Run app. We could do Cloud APIs. I think the Cloud Run looks promising though for Rust. And I'm kind of curious what will happen. So if we just say create a new Cloud Run app, let's try that. Now, it is annoying that it only gives you these language choices, but I'm going to pick Go and see if I can hack it. And we can say display hidden files. And I'm just going to see if I can just hack together a Rust solution here. So this is definitely not a default workflow, but if we look in here, we can see there's a Docker file, which is probably the part that's the most important to be aware of. And I could probably just figure out how to reverse engineer this thing. Um, so we have an entry point app. Let's see, what else do we have? And we have the code. I don't think we really need to do anything inside of here. I think I can just swap it out. So I already have a web service in this repo. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a hello world web service, and here we go. This looks like a good one. What is this one? So this looks like this web Docker. Let's try that. Let's go ahead and grab that service, and let's see if we can hack together a solution to get Rust working in Cloud Run. And then I can go to we can do cargo new, right? So I'm going to say as well, cargo and init. We'll do, and I probably want to delete a lot of these files. So I'm going to just delete this, and we can probably also rm-rf image, also rm go files, right? And we can also rm-rf assets. So there should be a lot less stuff here, and we can also rm the index. Now I should be able to do cargo init. We'll say name. I'll just name it the same web. We'll call it web Docker. There we go. Now that I've got web Docker, I can go back to this project and just basically copy something I've already built before. So I think this is just a random fruit demo. So I'm going to do touch source lib.rs, and then I'm going to paste this in, which is the code for the random fruit. I'm then going to go to the main, which will be the main function for this web app, which is right here. And let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to the main here. And then let's go to the cargo file, which also I'm going to have to tweak, which doesn't look that complex, actually. I just need to do a couple dependencies. Let's go to my cargo file, put those in. And now I think we can even put a make file in here just to be lazy, because I like to be lazy. Let's copy this. We'll do touch make file and install, build, run Docker, format, lint, test, all this stuff. So that's another one that I think is good to play around with, is to lint it now. So I'm kind of optimistic, actually, that this is going to work for Cloud Run, because there's no technical reason it shouldn't work. So if you want to containerize something, it's possible it should be easy with Rust to build a containerized Cloud Run application. So kind of curious. It's still compiling here, and we'll see if this will actually work. Okay. Still running. Now, this might be a situation too where the more powerful your environment is, the better, but maybe I don't care for right now. I don't think the Cloud Shell editor is necessarily like super performance. And I don't know how you open up another shell here, unless you can do, new terminal, split terminal. How about that? Split terminal. So if I just do htop, we can see here that it's definitely compiling, or yeah, it's compiling the software as it does the lint, or it's doing some kind of a partial compile. But you can see here it's just pegging the machine, which is not that powerful while it's doing a compilation. It isn't using a lot of memory though, which is kind of interesting, but not a bad idea to check out the stats of the system while you're doing a compilation. I guess I'm getting spoiled by using the code spaces from GitHub that are 16 core. They're pretty fun to play around with because of how fast and powerful. So yeah, if you're compiling code a lot, having a very powerful machine is actually quite helpful. So like a Mac that has 12 cores is definitely not bad to have. But so this is finally still compiling here. We'll just let this thing keep cranking. There we go. So yeah, wow, that's a good sign. And then if I say, as well, like a format or something like that, let's do make format. No problem. So if I say cargo run, let's kill this for a second. Let's say cargo run. It's going to then go and do the compile. And I'm curious what will happen here once we do the compile. And only a couple more steps left. All right. Well, that appeared to be working fine. Now, if I do split terminal and I say curl localhost 80, there we go. Hello world random fruit. And I also could do, I think, is it fruit? There we go. Yeah. So if I just keep doing this, you can see it's getting random fruits. So not bad. That was actually pretty easy. I mean, it is just a container, so it shouldn't be too tricky. Now, the trick is, how do I deploy this? So now that I'm in Cloud Run, we can do, run app on emulator. Oh, let's try that. That's kind of cool. So it's going to go through, it's going to verify the dependencies. We'll close that, which is kind of interesting. And build environments. So you could tell local build Docker. Let's run it. Let's see what happens. Dependencies check successful. That's a good sign. And I don't know. Oh, here we go. So it's going to now run it in MiniCube, which is kind of cool. So this is a very, interesting environment for Google Cloud, and I think it works pretty well for Rust, which is pretty interesting. So it's going to get MiniCube installed here, such that it's able to emulate what would happen in a more of a production deploy. So it's going to create a Docker container with 2 CPUs, 4,000, 4 gigs of RAM, and it'll take a little bit of time. Okay, starting MiniCube. Booting up control plane. All right. MiniCube has been scheduled to stop automatically after cloud exit. Update initiated. All right. So now it's configuring this deployment. And build started. and we can see that it says it's running. Now, what does that do? Oh, that's for debugging. Now, I don't know next year if I have to. Oh, I think it's still building. So I think I need to wait a little bit longer. But this is kind of neat. So it's got the ability to restart, stop, debug. What does this do? Debug console, the call stack. So a pretty interesting little environment here. And if we go to these toggled components, it gives you some other things. I'm not sure if it's going to work 100% for Rust because this was originally a Go config, but we'll see in a second. So I guess it's building the container, which could take a little bit of time because if we remember the container, I did do something a little bit tricky, which is I say from Rust latest, go ahead and build into another smaller container. This is a fairly new technique that I've been using with Rust, which is that you use a bigger image first, and then you push the bigger image into a smaller image, which in this case would be the Debian Buster Slim. And so it may take a little bit of time. Now, I don't know what happens if you click this. Oh, I see. It just shows what it's doing here. And development session, Kubernetes. So it looks like it's connecting some kind of Kubernetes setup here. We can still see this thing going, but we see it's still building the container here. Yeah, what I don't select and start running. Now I don't know if it's just running. Actually, that's the good question here. Is it do I do anything else or not? Although the fact that it said it's still building in the container makes me think that I should let it do a little bit more work here because I don't see other steps. Run locally. So there is this. This is the demo. Switch project, no Cloud Run service found. So I guess once this thing is finally done, if it's done, you would then select this button, which is you would say deploy to cloud. Now I could try that as well. And let's see what that does. Show detailed logs here. Because really that's what I wanted to do was deploy this to Cloud Run. Getting Google Cloud login state, checking the API status. Oh, so service name, I think fully managed. This would be if you wanted to do Anthos, which is an extended version. This looks okay. Local Docker build deploy. Let's try that out. So it looks pretty point and clicky, right? Is I just go through to Cloud Run here and I just click deploy. It gives me a default window, and then it's going to push this into the cloud. Let's check this out. So I guess it's just showing me the Docker build process, which is at least reassuring because it makes it so I don't feel like I have to wait too long. So this is the part that I was curious about, which is this Rust builder. I don't know how long that. Oh, actually, the first phase of it was only 28 seconds. And you can see here, it's this stuff that I was wondering if it would take a long time. And it's already done that. Now it's going to install all of the dependencies inside, which it basically is it's going to put the binary, because the binary was already built. It should just push it right inside of here. And it looks like it's going to put it in user copy from to user local bin. What's interesting is, why does it say user source web Docker? Not sure, but we'll find out in a second. And we can see, I don't think there's anything else this will show up, but we're about to find out if Cloud Run works for Rust. If it does, that'll be a good live stream. Updating the crates index. So we can see that the other parts of the build process were pretty quick. The builder, which is what I thought would take a long time. Oh, here we go. So now it's actually compiling. I thought the compile would have been here, but so it's now compiling, I think, could take a little bit of time. We're about to find out how long it's going to take. Probably it could take a few minutes to compile, actually. We'll find out. Now, Tokyo is the async library that a lot of people use. Extremely common for Rust. And then Actix is the web service, kind of like Fast API for Python. And we see some other libraries here. This JSON parsing library is one. I don't totally understand all the features of it, but I do use it when I use it with JSON. Number CPUs. That must be something that is able to keep track of the number of CPUs available to Rust, potentially. That's a thing that I might look into later. Okay, now it's actually compiling the actual Actix server, which is, again, one of the more popular, if not the most popular, web framework for Rust. I think this dominates by quite a bit from what I've seen. And at one point, it was the fastest web service in the world. It just depends on whether people are how much they're hacking unsafe code, I guess, at least was my understanding. Okay, we can go a little bit more here, and there we go, compiling Actix. Compiling web Docker. Now, I think what this means is that it's just making the binary, because web Docker is my project. And if we look at the code, yeah. Ooh. Okay, maybe. Thought I was going to have a problem, but it didn't. Deploying new service. Well, so far, no major problems. Setting the security policy. Oh, there we go. There's it says that it's running, and does it work? Whoa. So that was surprisingly easy. There we go. So we see we've deployed a publicly accessible web service in Rust to DCP. So I guess the end of the story is that, yeah, it's not bad. If you want to deploy Cloud Run services, again, right here, you want to deploy Cloud Run, you can just make containerized Rust application. And I had zero problems deploying this inside of this Cloud Shell environment. So I'm going to just call it a day. I was successful, and I'll pick this up later. All right, talk to you later.